All right, welcome back to Market on Close. We got about 20 minutes left. Stock still under pressure near the lows of the session. I want to bring in Alan Nuckman, Chief Market Strategist at Alcoa Financial. Alan, we're going to talk a materials play with Alcoa, but first, let's hit this market overall. Some softness. Finally, what happened? I thought we only go up.
We can't go up every single day.
Why not, Alan?
It's healthy to have a pullback.
I thought this was the late
This
Santa
is half
Claus
a
rally.
percent, maybe 0.75%, but I like the pullbacks. The pullbacks give me a measuring technique. If you remember 2 weeks ago when we had that pullback in the S&P, that distance of the drop on top of that recent swing high targets 2,800. Now we got up to 2798 last night in the futures markets. If you remember, we were higher in the futures markets. We did not make new swing highs today, so we still have more upside potential, but it's always important to see how the markets react after these mini pullbacks.
Yeah. So, Alan, is this something we need to be acutely attuned to over the coming days as to whether or not we get rejected from that it's like the final boss of resistance, right? First it was the lows and we beat it. Then it was the 200
right.
DMA and then we beat it. And now we're at the final boss, which is the November high. Or maybe it's like, I guess we'll go to other highs too.
I try and make it really simple. If you look at the S&P last year, it traded between 2,600 and 2,800 sideways, with the exception of those highs, for the whole year. So now we're back within that range, testing the upside one more time. So let's see if we can push through there. But I wanted you to say it, and you did, that there's really nothing left but highs. Coming into today, the Dow was only 4% off the all-time forever high. So we've shaken everything off, and if you look at the macro market, it's been a huge march to the upside. We were 20% off the lows in the Dow, the S&P, and tech coming into today.
Yeah. Now, Alan, the last thing here is that as we get into this discussion about Alcoa specifically, what we have had is energy, industrials, materials as being some of the best performers, industrials in particular. Does it matter to you when you look at the market on weaker days like this? Does it matter to you whether or not the weakness comes from a high growth area or the cyclical stuff, or is it all basically the same?
For me, I look to see what kind of rotation you get. You know, some days you're leaders, some days you're laggards. I look at that as an opportunity to pick up those laggards. And if you look at this, materials and mining sector, it had been beaten down. It's bounced 25%. If you look at XME, the ETF, it's bounced 25% off those December lows. So there's some upside. We had gold breakout. Gold got up to 1350 yesterday. Gold's been trading between 1050 and 1350 now for 5 years. A breakout of that targets 1650, which is another 20% up above. And you've seen copper breakout as well. So that brings us back to aluminum. And if you look at that copper breakout, Freeport-McMoRan took off. So I'm looking to see here if we can play some catch-up with Alcoa.
Yeah. All right. So now we get to it. Let's talk some Alcoa. What are you looking at right now, Alan? It's looking pretty relatively strong today as it's up as the market's down.
It's firmed up a bit. This is a stock that's been trading between 25 and 30 since December. Now, let's remember, this was a $60 stock not so long ago. It's been cut in half. And also, you get back into more of the fundamentals that I know you like to talk about. The PE ratio is 8. Let me say that again, 8. So there's not a whole lot of downside here. You can lean on that 25 level, that bottom base. So I'm looking at a July call option, an in-the-money option. Again, it's the strategy here. Buying an in-the-money option instead of the shares, a $25 call. The low is 25.01. It hasn't been below that in more than 52 weeks, obviously. And that option's trading for about 6.25, let's say. And it's $5 in the money. So it's going to give you the benefit of a lot of upside potential here, and the near-term upside target of this trading range is 35. That option would gain about 75%.
Okay, 8 PE, Alcoa is not like a big growth name anyway, though, right? I mean, this isn't a stock that typically trades richly. We're talking aluminum and stuff.
Right. It used to be a Dow component. It got kicked out in 2013, but they kind of found their footing. And, a lot of their, technology goes into aerospace. And so let's look at, Boeing's done pretty well. I think Boeing's still selling some planes. So they've got to get their aluminum somewhere, don't they? Yeah.
All right. There we go. That's true. They got a lot of planes to sell, Alan. Apparently a lot more than maybe people would have thought. Okay. Alan Nuckman, good stuff as always. Alcoa is the stock today. Looking at the trade on aluminum and steel. We'll be right back for the closers panel. Let's talk some M&A as we head into the closing moments here. We'll begin a ramp over the next 15 minutes. Investors have gotten used to it since the December lows, a pop into the closing bell. But right now, equities are under pressure. We're going to talk about some merger activity as of late. We got an expert with us to follow up on some of the big stories. Stick around.